My name is Alyssa Whitcraft. I'm going to be talking about a regional initiative of the GeoGLAM program called Agricultural Monitoring in the Americas. It's also a contribution to AmeriGeo. I wear a lot of different hats in a lot of different organizations, but everything I do is really about making it easier for a diverse array of stakeholders to utilize satellite data from farm, sub-farm, all the way to global scales to improve our understanding and management alike of agriculture and natural resources. Work a lot in the food security realm, capacity development, satellite data coordination, and I'm also the deputy director of NASA's Food Security and Agriculture program called Harvest. Today, though, I'm just going to be focusing on AMA. I want to give you a little bit of background on AMA and the global GeoGLAM program that I mentioned. GeoGLAM is a G20 mandated program that was initially put forth by the G20 in 2011 in response to a series of years of food price hikes, volatility in agricultural markets. They wanted to launch an action plan on food price volatility and markets. And as a part of that, they brought forth something called GeoGLAM to basically enhance the satellite monitoring of agriculture and provide early outlooks on crop shortages, or basically provide transparency to the market so we could deter and avoid any food shocks. In 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 2020, we've had, working re-endorsements from the G20 agricultural ministers, and building upon the initial focus that we had in GeoGLAM on agriculture and agricultural markets and trade, we've also been moving increasingly into food security. Also in GeoGLAM, G20 is not the sole portion of our business. It's really an international initiative that pulls in true to the geo spirit, the efforts of multiple people around the world. And so naturally, those people are also going to have relevance in their work to other global policy agendas. For example, the Sustainable Development Goals and the UNFCCC Paris Climate Accords. So GeoGLAM is implemented at national, regional, and global scales. And I want to give an example of the Americas Network today. The Americas Network is known as Agricultural Monitoring in the Americas, or AMA for short. And it's really focused on bringing in the Americas to be better represented from Canada to Chile in the global GeoGLAM program, the incorporation of crops that matter to them, and also making sure that there's a transfer of technology and skills, both south-north, north-south, and south-south, all over the globe through this GeoGLAM network. We're articulating regional R&D priorities and developing collaborations off of those, also doing needs assessments in terms of skills and developing training from those. The hypothesis is through doing this, we can enhance national systems, and the national systems themselves will bring forth better, timelier agricultural information at subnational, national, regional, and onto global scales. And so we were established in early 2018, and in that time we've grown to close to 30 participants now from 9 countries, and we're still doing outreach and expect a couple of other countries in Central America to be joining soon, and also the regional integration body SICA. We have done a variety of capacity development activities. One thing, as I mentioned, an objective is to better represent the Americas in the global program, and we've been able to accomplish that by bringing in representation of America's expertise into the Global Capacity Development Group. We've held multiple in-person and virtual trainings on crop mapping, crop area estimation, yield forecasting, and also relative software and tools here and there as well. And then we've done some bilateral exchanges as well, bringing folks from Costa Rica and from Brazil to Agri-Food Canada for an intensive hands-on SAR training. We've also launched a couple of research collaborations. I'll give an example of that in a moment. And this is something I think is really key in strengthening national systems. Often the national agencies aren't really talking with one another, and the agencies in a country aren't really talking with one another. And we've used this group as a means of increasing intranational, not just international, but within country communication and collaboration around agriculture and food security. GeoGLAM has this flagship publication It's actually 2, Crop Monitor for AMIS and Crop Monitor for Early Warning, that we put out on a monthly basis. This is actually hot off the press. These are the conditions as of August 28th in the Americas. And you can see that there's a lot of light gray spots, and that indicates that we don't have participation from those countries at this time, or we don't have somebody reporting on that information. And so AMA really is working to try and increase national representation of countries representing their own crop conditions, but obviously implicit in that, in some cases, is developing the capacity to use Earth observations. And so this is a nice tool to sort of bring people into this mix. And in fact, we found for the case of Mexico, for example, that having this global mandate of information to report really enriches the national systems as well. They're better coordinated within, I've been told by my colleagues within CIAP. This is an example of one of the trainings we did in Maryland. We had folks from Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Mexico come up and work with Matt Hansen's group to develop national scale crop masks, and they're moving into crop type masks and into area estimation. This was after 4 days with initial accuracies around 80%, much higher in some countries and lower in other countries. And Viviana Zayas led this training. One of the cool things that came out of this is that CONAB in Brazil is now operationally using this area sampling methodology that they picked up in this training series of training seminars in their monthly agricultural bulletins. Here's another great story. This was just recently. AMA held a telecon to try and get people to talk about the challenges COVID was presenting both to food security and agriculture in the country, but also to their ability to complete their analytical jobs. We found remote sensing to be a really important tool, gap-filling tool in this period of time when a lot of people aren't able to make field visits. So in this case, we held this call, and during it, we showed a new GLAM system developed by NASA Harvest with funding from NASA Applied Sciences. And essentially, this head of estimations in Argentina at the Bolsa de Cereales hadn't seen how dire the dry conditions were in Cordoba State and in sort of the northeast part of the country, north central part of the country. And so he tweeted this out, and it was immediately picked up by one of the most important news outlets in Argentina, drawing attention to the fact that satellite data are filling in some key knowledge gaps. And then this is just a series of experiments we have advancing the state of the use of SAR in the region. There's some real kind of question marks. This is led by Agri-Food Canada and is ongoing. There's a paper coming out soon. And lastly, we're just going to continue to try and advance these methods and increase international and international connections and really expand our focus from area, yield, and condition into sustainable agriculture and land management practices. And that's going to necessitate the engagement of more private sector actors. If you have any questions, check out our website. Our Twitter is quite active, and feel free to contact me with any questions you have. Thank you.